Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining me. I'm Cheryl and this is Your Journey Yoga. Today, another fascia work. So just combining some really good stretches, some yoga stretches, and some self-massage techniques to work out kinks and tension and inefficiencies within the body that can be caused by soft tissues that are unhappy. So unhappy meaning they can be dehydrated. They could have had some sort of injury, either a minor or a substantial injury that you're coming back from. And the fascia, a soft tissue that is meant to glide just nice and easy across one another, can sometimes get bunched up. Entanglements happening, causing trigger points, if you will. So sometimes we feel like we have a knot in our muscle when actually it could be your fascia that is all twisted and unhappy. So getting those soft tissues rehydrated and happy again so that they work more efficiently and reduce pain. So just sitting. So if you are sitting on the floor and your body is like, I hate sitting on the floor, you typically probably have some real tightness going on in your joints and some fairly unhappy soft tissues. So working those soft tissues will help create a little bit more space in your joints and just a little bit more happiness all around for your body. So with that, a seated position that is as comfortable as you can make it. And I just want you to sit up nice and tall, and I want you to rest your hands wherever it feels good to you. And I just want you to close your eyes and take a moment to kind of inventory. As you sit here and as you breathe, I want you to notice your posture. Are you hollowing out and kind of hunching through that upper back? Or can you sit up nice and tall? As you sit up nice and tall, how does your body respond? Can you relax your jaw? How about those hips? Do you have anything going on in those hips? How about the knees? Are the knees happy? So we're going to spend a fair amount of time on the lower body today. Breathe. And we're going to incorporate some stretches before and afters. So we'll do the stretch, and then we'll do some fascia work, and then we'll come back to that stretch and hopefully feel a pretty significant change in the range of motion, the ease of your breath, and just how that stretch feels. Let's walk your hands forward. I want you to support with the hands. So just as you walk your hands forward, let your head be heavy. And I want you to notice how that feels in the lower back, in the hips, in the groin, in the knees, and just let yourself melt. Now, as we let gravity do the work for us, hopefully this melting just continues. Range of motion increases. Amount of resistance decreases. Now you can support with those hands as much as you want, or you can literally just let those arms be heavy and gently pull you down. So depending upon your range of motion here, all right, so we want to make sure that we are not expecting miracles to happen, but I want you to just notice how you feel here and kind of approximately where you are. So we're going to work our way down our legs. And let's go ahead and walk those hands back up. So I want you to grab, so I've got a plethora of fun toys here. So I have a softball, fairly hard, but pretty decent size. I have a massage ball, a little softer, a little smaller. So a little softer, meaning it's not going to be quite so intense as we get into that fascia work, but smaller, so it's going to get deeper. A lacrosse ball, a lot smaller, a lot harder, not so nice. But if you can get down to a lacrosse ball, guys, you're getting into good shape where your body is like not holding on to a whole lot of tension. We don't have a ton of those entanglements. You are going to find some deeper trigger points, absolutely. And a tennis ball, softer, yes, smaller, but a substantial amount softer. So really this is kind of your nicest, if you will. And then your massage ball, next nicest. I'm going to put these two about the same because your softball is intense. It is very, very dense. There's a little bit of forgiveness to it, but not a lot. And this guy's just downright mean. I love it because I need it, and I know I need to get to the point where this is working for me, and I can actually tolerate it. So if you want to cry, don't cry, but know that you are in good company, because you guys, this is work that is so beneficial, but nobody wants to do it because it is just plain hard and it doesn't feel amazing until you've done it enough to where your body craves this. So when you've started to do the fascia work and you're consistent with it, and you go at a pace that your body is ready for, your body, oh my gosh, loves this. So it promotes blood flow into those soft tissues, and it really just works out the kinks. Your body moves more efficiently. You stand taller, you move more gracefully, a little more freer, and without that pain, you guys. So it is worth the time. But yes, there are days when working on your fascia will make you sweat more than just the work that you do running or weightlifting or training in any way that you train. So just keep that in mind and know that that's what happens. So you can grab a ball or a foam roller. Foam rollers, you guys, amazing, come in different densities. Black is the most dense foam roller, so it's going to be the least kind that get the most done. But you want to start either white or blue if you've never done this before. But if you're like, I just want to go black and I'll figure out how to manage with that, we can do that. Okay, so you decide kind of where you are. If you have an opportunity to play with one before having to order them, they're not super expensive. So if you wanted to order a couple, you certainly could. But if you have accessibility to any of the white ones or blue ones, try them out and see which one you like. So we're going to work our way down our legs. Without further ado, we're going to sit on the foam roller. Okay, so as we sit, I want you to sit cross-legged. If cross-legged is just not in the cards today, you guys, go ahead and uncross those legs and just bring your feet out in front of you, feet about hip width apart. Okay, so I just want you to sit. And I want you to see, as you sit, kind of where your natural tendency is. Do you sit up really tall, so you're kind of sitting where the your bottom and the top of your thighs meet? Do you have a tendency to rock back, kind of more at your mid-glute, almost your tailbone? Engage your core. Sit up. Okay, so now I want you to bring your feet to a butterfly, soles of the feet together, and we're sitting up nice and tall. Okay, bringing the hands to the foam roller and just kind of supporting yourself. I want you to open and close the knees, not all the way, so as much as feels right to you, because I want you to keep the soles of the feet together, and I want you to keep that nice tall posture. Anything on the radar here, guys? So just checking in. Here, we're getting some stretch, inner thighs, and through those hips. And then that range of motion, just that hip mobility, guys. That ball and socket joint of the hip, we want to create that and keep it as loose as we can. Last one, go ahead and just open it up. Breathe. Now we're going to go ahead and bring our hands behind us. So if you are taking care of your shoulders, guys, be very mindful. Maybe you come down onto your forearms if you have a big pillow or something behind you that you can rest on. So bring your feet out, and we're going to rock forward just a little bit, bringing the hands behind us. Make sure that that's okay for those shoulders. And we're going to use the outside edge of our feet to roll forward and back. So we're just kind of increasing that range of motion through the hips, and maybe you're going to notice a deeper stretch through the thighs, the inner thighs. Good. And through those hips. So be mindful that you're not rocking back all the way under your tailbone. That might not feel super great. Good. One more pass, just coming forward. And back to that point where you can keep the core engaged and walk yourself back up. Now bring the soles of the feet to the mat, and we're going to cross our right foot up and over the left knee. We're going to bring our right hand behind us and roll to the right. So you might need to adjust onto your foam roller or your ball. So if you've got a ball, this is going to get in deep, you guys. So foam roller would kind of be where I would start and then progress down to the ball. So we'll get down there as well. So I'm just rolling front to back, and I'm just checking out that hip. That outer hip, guys, needing some love. Maybe it's not so bad. So depending upon what you do on a typical day, if it's not a whole lot and this is it, kudos. I'm glad you're here. If it's you train like a banshee and you do all kinds of crazy stuff, you might feel more. So there's a tendency, right? So exercise is kind of like medicine. Movement is like medicine. So if you do move, but you are just a crazy trainer, okay, you need a little more love. If you sit, and you sit a fair amount, more than you move, you're going to need a little bit of love. It's about finding balance, you guys. Now I want you to find a place where it feels like, yep, I found some place that needs a little bit of work, and I just want you to roll forward to back. So everybody's lifestyle is different, and by no means is one better than the other. It's about balance. It's about consistency, and it's about taking care of your body so that your body will stay happy and healthy for as long as possible. Awesome. Coming back to center, let's take it to the other side. So we're going to come onto both hands, shift onto your foam roller, crossing that left knee over the right foot over the left knee, and then we're going to roll to the left. And we're just going to rock. So I want you to make sure that you're still lifting out of that left shoulder so you're not sinking into your shoulder and that core stays engaged. And we're just going to go forward and back. So as we roll across that gluteus medius, that outer hip, how's it feel on this side in comparison to the other side? So always, guys, for me, I know that I don't carry my tension evenly. One side is always more unhappy than the other, or we can say more happy than the other. Okay, so if you find a spot, I want you to stay there. Now you can do little tiny roll forward and back. You can rock side to side. So it's kind of just experimental play, if you will. This self-massage. So mine's a little bit higher on this side. And the funny thing is, with soft tissue, guys, because it's the blood flow, because it's these little entanglements, these little knots, they have a tendency, sometimes they'll shift. So think of a knot on a rope, right? As it loosens, it slides. So it slides up or down that rope. Same thing. So you want to kind of move. So if you're like, oh yes, I got rid of that one, shift just a little bit. I bet it's still hanging out somewhere around there. And if you're like, no, man, I just moved all over the place and I did not find it again. Yes, celebrate that. Awesome. All right, let's come back to center. Carefully come off the foam roller and just leave it behind you just a little bit. And we're going to come back to that butterfly. Sit up nice and tall. So we were sitting on the foam roller before, so now our bottom's a little bit lower. It's going to be a little bit more of an intense stretch, but I just want you to check in and see how it feels. Are we looser through the inner thigh, through the hips? I hope so. How about if we cross those legs? Sit up nice and tall. Noticing the posture, right? So were you kind of hollowing out before and sitting kind of slumpy? Sit up tall and let's walk those hands forward. Okay, so first place I notice is in the hips. Yep. In those glutes. So that outer hip. And then in conjunction with that, my lower back seems a little bit happier. Now it could be that we've already been here once before. And in combination with the foam roller, the body is a lot happier. So how about you? What do you feel? And let's go ahead and walk it back up. All right, guys, so we're going to get the front of our legs. Grab your foam roller, place it out in front of you, and we're going to work with some of the balls at the same time here. And in fact, so let's slide the foam roller back. Move back on your mat so you've got plenty of room. And I'm going to slide the foam roller so it's just resting right in front of my knees. And then I'm going to come up and over, holding the foam roller in place. And I'm just going to come forward. So I'm kind of mid-thigh here. It doesn't matter because we're going to roll. Being down on your forearms just puts less stress in that lower back, but you can absolutely be up on your hands if you like. And I'm kind of giggling to myself inside because just sitting here, my quads need some love. So just check in. What do you feel? And I just want you to kind of move slowly. And I want you to take your time. So I'm just coming up towards my hips, slowly, slowly. So my body weight is just resting on this foam roller. And I'm going to come up to, and I'm going to stop just before the bottom of the pelvis. And then I'm going to slowly come forward. So I'm just kind of pulling with my arms. You can do a little army crawl if you want to, but just kind of pulling forward with those elbows and checking in. So I'm going to come stopping just below the knees and then taking it back. So I'm keeping that core strong, guys, so you don't have that big sway in your back. And I'm just going to do some passes right along the muscle fiber first, because that can be intense enough. But when you start to cross fiber, the intensity definitely increases. So I'm just going to do a few passes here, maybe 5 or 6, but you be the judge of what your body needs. Slower, faster. I mean, yeah, you can do it. I mean, I see people all the time that are just like jamming forward and back. You're not giving your body the time that it needs to really process and to get that blood flow into that fascia, into the muscles, into the tendons and the ligaments. Is it better than nothing? Yeah. But when we spend the time, we really want to spend the time as efficiently and effectively as we can, right? We want to get the most bang for our buck. All right, you guys. So body's mellowed out a little bit. My legs are like, okay, all right, I remember this. You've been away too long, but I remember this. Okay, so now I'm going to start to sway my hips side to side, and I'm going to kind of rock back and forth as I move forward and back. So the knees are bent a little bit, just a little bit, nothing major. And I'm going to cross fiber. So this isn't actually too bad, which is nice. So just that initial kind of right along the muscle fiber, those passes that we did at the beginning, helped my legs kind of relax. Now I'm finding, are you noticing, is there a ropey feeling as you go across? So in my right leg, I'm feeling one right there. So I'm going to, ooh, hello. I'm going to stay right here. So I'm going to adjust my arms underneath me, and I'm just going to move. So it's that right leg. Oh, my word. That really, I can feel that. And you'll feel it kind of almost like a little chunky, like a piece of rope that you're rolling over. Okay, so I'm going to stay right on it, and I'm going to straighten, hello, and bend. Straighten and bend. So if you guys are dealing with knee pain, ankle pain, lower back pain, a lot of times, and I'm not saying all the time, but sometimes it's fascia related, you guys. When you've got knots pulling, okay, so it feels like it let go. I'm going to shift and see if I can find, oh, there it is. Didn't let go. Okay, so I'm just shifting and playing with it a little bit. So as you find those places, they're sneaky, you guys. They move on you. But the good thing is when they move, they're loosening, they're shifting, they want to let go. Oh my goodness, that's a doozy. Okay, so finding those spots. And if you don't have them, you guys, celebrate that. But don't just like rock back and forth super fast. Okay, that's like, oh yeah. Okay, one, you could hurt yourself. Okay, you're not engaging the core. You're not doing mindful movements. So we really want to stay with that mindful movement. Okay, and I'm going to go back to that rocking back and forth. And you guys, you don't have to stay somewhere until it's completely gone, right? That could take days. It's going to take multiple visits back with this. You know how I told you that you could sweat more just by doing this? It's true. All right, now I'm going to back off a little bit. So that left leg feels pretty good. I don't know why my right leg is so unhappy, but whatever. It is what it is, right? And we deal with it. So just those passes once again. All right, so our stretch that we're going to come to, if your knees are needing a little extra love, I want you to have a pillow handy. All right, we're going to come back to the point where we can bring those knees to the mat, and we're going to walk those hands back. So you can keep your foam roller if you want to, and you can have it with the hands. You can set it aside. So we're going to come to child's pose. And if you have the foam roller, this is kind of cool because it gives you a nice little shoulder stretch. I know we said we were going to focus on that lower body mostly, but this is amazing. So just by keeping those hands up on the foam roller and allowing the upper body to come down, great stretch through the shoulders. So child's pose, wonderful stretch for your quadriceps. So the tops of those thighs, how do they feel? Hopefully kind of warm and fuzzy at this point. Loose, good blood flow. That's the hopes, guys. Breathe, breathe, breathe. All right, and before we transition to the IT band, we're going to do a little check-in. And let's walk those hands back up. So a little check-in here with a stretch. So making sure foam rollers are off to the side, out of the way. And we're taking care of those knees, right? So if you need to, we're going to keep that right leg extended out. Knees are happy and healthy and feeling good. We're going to tuck that right foot underneath us. And we're going to take our left leg and we're going to cross it up and over the right leg. Now, if it doesn't cross to the knee side, the top side of the knee, we're going to bring it to the lower side of the knee, so just above the shin. If you're able, yep, bring it over and sit up nice and tall. So what I want you to notice, right hip, left IT band. And as we wrap that right elbow around your knee and pull it in, do you feel that deeper stretch? So we're lifting and lengthening out of the crown of the head. Just getting that really nice stretch. So there's a lot of different places that you might be feeling this. So the spine as we rotate, the hip as we rotate, the IT band as you lengthen as we twist, the knee, the upper and middle back as you're pulling in to lift and rotate. So check in, little inventory, guys, right? And gently release. We're going to switch sides. So if we need to, that left leg stays long. If it's okay on the knee, bring that left foot underneath us. Sit up nice and tall. Right foot crosses either to the bottom of the knee or to the top of the knee. And we wrap the crook of that left elbow around the knee. Sitting up nice and tall. Breathe. So we're checking in. That IT band, that outer hip, that left hip, the spine. Are you sitting up nice and tall? And just breathe. And we're going to come back to this after we work those IT bands. Hopefully feeling super good. All right, guys, releasing that. So again, we can take this guy. I'm going to recommend foam roller all the time on this one. If you don't have the foam roller, use your balls, guys. Okay, so on the foam roller, we're going to back up towards kind of the bottom of your mat. And I'm going to start on my left side. And I'm going to place the foam roller kind of just below that left hip. You don't want to be right on the pelvis, right on that hip bone. We want to stay off of the bone as much as we can. And then I'm going to come down onto my forearm. Left leg is long, and the right foot, the knee is bent, and the sole of the foot on the floor. So what we want is we want to put as much pressure and lift. So like I can actually lift my left hip just by pressing off of that right foot. So this is going to manage how much weight is on that foam roller. Okay, so the more you push with that right foot, the less weight that your body is putting onto that foam roller. The more weight you can handle will intensify that fascia work and that self-massage. So I want you to be mindful of your shoulder, okay? So if you're taking care of shoulders, maybe this isn't great, maybe you just stay right here and you put something underneath you to support you. If you are at the point where I don't really need this, I can have all of my body weight so I can like lift my leg, you can actually stack your legs. Okay, so this is going to intensify things a ton. When you first start, even if you've been away from foam rolling but you've done it before, start here. And we're just going to slowly make that pass of forward and back. So again, we're going to stop before the top of the hip, bottom of the hip, bottom of the pelvis, and the top of the knee. So we don't want to cross up onto that hip bone. And we don't want to get all the way down onto the knee. So we're just managing the weight and the range of motion. So coming as full motion as you can. So that whole femur, just not on the head of the femur. Breathe. And we're just passing forward and back. Keeping that core strong. Feels okay, actually. Okay, so now we're going to do that cross fibering. So I'm going to start to rock my hips forward and back as I'm passing back and forth. So if you find a spot, yep, you can stay there and you can rock back and forth. Just that pressure massage and then that cross fibering can really help things start to let go. But you decide. So again, it's that experimental play. Every day is going to be different when you come onto your fascia, or you work with your fascia and you come onto your foam roller. Breathe. So you can actually turn like your hips almost like you were going to do your quadricep again, and you're kind of off just to a little bit of that left side of your quadricep. So again, it's about play. It's about experiment. It's about finding different ways to move, to let that fascia release. And if you're like, oh my gosh, everything kind of transferred back to the front of my legs, come back here for a second. Just because we did it once before doesn't mean you have to be done with it. If it feels like, yeah, I need this again, come back here. And then all of a sudden you can transition back to the IT. So that's one of the beautiful things about having a wider foam roller. So this guy is a 36 inch, but you can get them as big as you like. Good. So if stacking those feet, oh yeah, that makes a huge difference. So intensity through the roof. Okay, so back off if you need to. If you're like, I feel like I'm good, back off if you like. Oh, and you know we got to do both sides, right? So shifting, and I'll do this side with the ball. For those of you guys who do not have a foam roller, did you see me almost grab the softball? I'm going to start with the massage ball. So I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to start just below the hip, and I'm going to be on here, and I'm going to move my foot so that my foot, I can press against it. So one of the things with a ball is that lower foot, you'll notice on the foam roller, my foot was up. So here I'm sliding along the mat. It's okay, but you just don't have that space for the foot to float as much. So, and then coming down, it's just not as fluid of a movement, but you guys, it's just as good. It's just deeper, which apparently this side doesn't mind, which is good. Breathe. All right, you guys. Ooh, there's a good one. So rolling those hips back and forth. And I just noticed I disappeared from you guys. I was the headless Cheryl there for a second. Breathe. You still got to see what was important, which is that ball, right? So, and if you have a ball and you have a foam roller and you decide one feels better than the other, perfect. But you know what? Switch it up from time to time. Ball allows a little more fun. So you can see, you hear me say fun. People who know me well, I have a little twisted sense of fun. Awesome. All right, so spending the time you need, right? So maybe the right side doesn't need as much love as the left. It's okay to spend 8 minutes on the left and 5 minutes on the right. It doesn't have to be super matchy, but what you want to feel is the benefit of both. All right, you guys, so coming back to that stretch. Right leg is underneath us, left leg is going to cross up and over. Sit up nice and tall. Let's wrap the crook of that right elbow around the knee and pull. I can already feel a pretty substantial difference. Breathe. So nice. And let's check it out on the other side. So sweeping it around, again, left leg can be long, right foot can cross over or be at the base of your knee, and just pull it in nice and tight, wrapping that left elbow around the knee and pull it in. Feels pretty good. Better, better, better. Love it. All right, so the next one, my friends, we are going to get into those hip flexors and that psoas muscle. So this one is best with a ball. And this one I actually really like to use my softball. I really like to use. Do you hear me say that? So this guy it gives me enough height so that I'm not flat on my face and my tummy is resting. Because what we're going to do is we are going to place the ball kind of right at the top center of your hip and pelvis. So not up into the belly, but down kind of where the hip and the leg meet, if you will. And we're going to lay down on the ball. Okay, so as you come down onto the ball, you're going to need to adjust a little bit. And I'm going to kind of let my leg just relax. Oh, yes. All right, so as you place the ball, we don't want to be directly on a bone. Okay, so not on the hip bone, we're not on the pelvis, we're not on the head of the femur. We're kind of in that little pocket of your hip. Ooh, and I'm just going to rock side to side a little bit. Again, so my left leg is my supportive leg. So I'm putting a little bit of pressure into that left knee, pressing against the mat to help lift a little bit off of the ball. So I'm not just lying flat, dead weight. I'm up on my elbows, so I'm supporting the upper back. And I'm just kind of moving front to back. This is not a big movement, you guys. You might not even be able to see me moving a ton. Maybe just seeing my bottom roll back and forth a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to come over onto that left hip and I'm going to pull that right knee up and out and then draw it back out. So I'm laying on my left leg and I'm going to squeeze my buns on that right side. I'm going to release the buns, extend and squeeze. Release, pull it in. Now you can come down a little bit further if that's too much on that lower back. And we're just pulling in and up and then out and long and squeeze. Now just relax. Come back up off of the elbow or off of the side and just rock side to side. Now I'm going to tuck my left toes and I'm going to lift a little bit so that I can kind of use those left toes to pull myself forward and back. Breathe. Opening and closing a little bit. Again, it's experiment, you guys. It's play. And I want you to notice maybe a little cross fibering. What is it that your body's telling you? If there's more tension on one side, we want to make sure there's no pain, you guys. There shouldn't be any pain. There shouldn't be any numbness, no tingling, no funky anything going on. Just a little discomfort from that self-massage. Breathe. Awesome. And then we take it to the other side. So we're just going to move it with the hand, sliding it over to that left hip. Okay, so you can tuck the toes, you can keep them long. So this time you get to see what the supporting leg is doing a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to rock side to side. Not a big movement, guys, but I'm also not just falling on my face. I'm supporting through those shoulders. I'm keeping my core strong. And I'm just noticing how it feels on this side. This side, not so tight. So have you had any injuries on the other side? Have you, I mean injuries like strained muscles, overworked muscles, big bruises, any kind of surgery, broken bones, anything, you guys, that you can think of where you might just have a tendency to have that fascia be a little bit more knotted up. Years and years of use. So the more we use our bodies, you guys, if we use and abuse, that's not good. If we use, it's great, but we've got to find that balance of taking care and not overusing, right? That overusing of our bodies and the muscles, we pay for it later on. So yeah, I mean, I was super into sports, gymnast, dancer, skier, tennis player, soccer player, I mean, you name it. I was all over the place. And had I found this when I was younger, had I found yoga when I was younger, I think it really would have mitigated a lot of the issues that I've had as an adult. So if you can get your kids, if you can get your friends' kids, anybody, to start yoga earlier, I'm all over my kids about trying it, but They do it with me, but they don't like it. Truth be told, they're not fans. They say it's too hard. And it is hard until it's not hard. And that's one of the cool things about consistency is it gets less hard. But you get stronger and you challenge yourself more. I love it. I just think it's amazing. And this is kind of the same, right? It's just hard. It's not fun at first. And why would anybody want to do this? Because it's good for you and because the benefits are amazing. So now I'm going to come over onto that right hip and I'm going to pull that left knee out and away, extend and point and squeeze. Oh, you feel that? And then bring it back and in. Out, extend and squeeze. So just play with it. Moving that knee up towards your shoulder. And it might, depending upon how slippery your pants are, the ball might move. So you might have to adjust it. It's not perfect science, so it's not going to stay exactly where it's supposed to be. But I'm still over on that right hip, just kind of chilling on that right side and working the left. Hopefully it's getting less intense for you. Awesome. All right, you guys, release that ball. And let's bring the big toes together as you come up into almost a tabletop. Big toes come together, and I want you to sit your bottom back. So we're coming into a wide-legged child's pose, extended child's pose. So we did the knees together before, and now the knees are separated, and we're allowing that upper body to just sink. So we worked kind of through the inner thigh and through the hips. We've worked the IT bands. We've worked our glutes. So how do those legs feel? Hopefully amazing. Chin or cheek to the mat. Just relax. All right, so a little more intense stretch if you like. You can stay here. We're going to pull those hands back up and we're going to come into our tabletop position. So those wrists are right below our shoulders. We're going to open up those feet. Okay, so now those toes are not touching anymore, and we're going to let those knees just slide out. So we're going to do our very best to keep the hips and the knees right in line, and we're going to sink. We're going to sink in as far as we can go. So you're going to notice that your muscles are going to tense up in those hips and then the inner thighs. Okay, so we just put some love into those hips, the inner thighs, the psoas. Okay, so they might be more apt to relax, to forgive, to sink, to surrender. So you can put a pillow underneath your belly, kind of along your chest if you like, to surrender into this. I'm going to grab one really quick so I can show you what I mean. So if you have a bolster or a big pillow, lay it down. We open and we just release. So we're just going to kind of hug onto that pillow and those knees and hips right in line, okay? So those toes might come together. If you want a little more intensity, open those feet. And just relax. I say relax. Relax as best you can. We're just going to hold here for a few moments. So if you don't have that pillow, you don't have that bolster, it's okay. You can support with the forearms. You can come down and relax the weight of the body. I just want you to make sure that those knees and hips are staying in line. And you're like, can we get out of this pose already? So one of the beautiful things, you guys, as we hold poses, the fascia, the ligaments, the joints, the muscles, they all start to become team players. And they work together to let go. One more good breath in. And let's come back up to the forearms. And pull those knees back into child's pose. Now you might feel permanently separated. You can still hold on to that bolster below you if you like. And just relax. Literally just relax. I just want this to feel super good. If you don't have one, no worries. Child's pose, stacked hands, stacked fists. Breathe. All right, you guys, so we have literally worked from our bum down to our knees. So it's time to get into that lower body, the lower leg. So calves and feet. So let's walk those hands up. All right, so calves. What's a huge stretch for the calf? any kind of forward fold. So sitting up nice and tall. And one thing you can do that is actually really cool is sit up against a wall if you're not really sure about the posture, and if you're feeling like you're not getting the full benefit of just sitting at a 90-degree pose in staff pose. So if you have a wall behind you, you want your back against it, your bottom against it, and your back of your head against it. If you're pretty confident and you can sit up at a 90-degree, I just want you to flex your feet. So we're checking in different places, calves and the soles of your feet. So I just want you to keep your feet flexed, and I want you to kind of move your toes. If you're like, how in the world do you even do that? It's okay, you're in good company. It's a learning process. Good, so we're just wiggling those toes. Now I want you to point and flex your feet. So I want you to notice not only the calves, but also the tops of the shins. So the muscles along the shin bone. A lot of times we don't even think about them. So just that pointing and flexing. Now I want you to flex your feet, and I want you to hold your feet flexed. And I want you to come forward. So as we hinge forward, a nice flat back. And I want you to keep that nice flat back as long as you can. Shoulders are rolled back, and just kind of that 45-degree angle. Crown of the head reaching out. Breathe, and I want you to point and flex. So keeping that length in the spine, point and flex. Point and flex one more time. Point and flex. Beautiful. Now go ahead and walk those hands back up. Go ahead and soften your feet. So we're going to grab whatever you'd like. I'm going to go massage ball. Foam roller is absolutely fine, but I'm going to go massage ball, and then I'll work my way to the foam roller. So I'm going to place that massage ball right at the mid-belly of my calf. And I'm going to bend my left knee and bring my hands behind me. So right now, I'm just going to use the strength of that right leg to push against that ball. And I'm just going to go side to side a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to lessen the pushing so that I can move it a little bit more and rock it side to side. So really getting that whole mid-belly of my calf. And I'm actually going to kind of roll my foot in to out, so that internal and external rotation through my hip, so that I can get that whole mid-belly calf. Now I'm going to stay where I am, and I'm going to press my left foot into the mat, and I'm going to rock myself forward and back. So going the length of my calf muscle. So going along that muscle fiber, I'm going to start to rotate my foot out. And I'm just going to do that length. So rolling forward and back. And then I'm going to slowly start to turn my toes inward, that internal rotation. Still letting that leg be heavy. And then I'm going to come back to center. Calves aren't too bad today. So I'm going to move my hands down a little bit. I have a tendency to carry that tension, that tightness, those entanglements kind of in the lower mid-belly of my calf. Not too bad today. That's good. So celebrate those days, you guys. Good gravy. They are few and far between for me. I know that. You know, I always say consistency, right? Yep. Consistency. Because when we start feeling good, we're like, oh yeah, we're good. We don't need to do that. Well, we're good because we've been putting the work in. And as soon as we stop doing the work, yep, there it goes. Comes back. All right, so now I'm going to shift to the foam roller. So I'll set my massage ball off, and I'm going to work in with the same leg. So I'm going to start just below my knee, and I'm still using that left foot for support. And I'm going to roll it back and forth. So you might need to bring that left foot out and away from you for just a little bit so that it doesn't get in the way of the foam roller. And I'm just going to walk back. Ooh, yes. Okay, so outside for me, I can feel it. I found some. And then I'm going to slowly roll. Just working my way across the calf. Good. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty good. So I'm going to take that left leg and I'm going to cross it over my right. So we've just added weight. So be mindful of your shoulders. Okay, so we want to make sure that the shoulders stay happy, that the core stays engaged, and we're just rolling. So at any point, you guys, you can always shift where those hands are. Breathe. Okay, so by crossing the leg, yeah, I thought I was feeling pretty good, but yep, I found some stuff. And you'll probably do the same thing from time to time where you're like, yeah, I feel great. And then you change it up And there it is. Awesome. So now I'm going to switch to the left side, and I'm going to go back to my massage ball. You can stick with the foam roller if you like. So again, this is all about you, right? Taking care of you. Mid calf, right foot bends, hands behind me, and I'm going to lift. So just getting to know yourself a little bit better about where you hold tension, where you have a tendency to get those trigger points. It's not always, but typically I'm going to say 90% of the time I can tell you where I'm going to find my issues. Awesome. Feels pretty good. Okay, and then just shift. If you can't quite get to the lower part because your hands are in the wrong space, move it. It's all good. Beauty. So that one feels pretty good. So I'm going to go right to the foam roller. Massage ball off to the side. Right foot off to the side a little bit. I'm going to lift and come up. And your hands can be facing in whatever direction you want to, your fingers. So there's no right or wrong with that. It's just about taking care of your elbows and your shoulders. Yeah, so I found the spot right away. So another thing you can do is just put your bottom down and cross the leg. And just relax the weight of the legs when you find that trigger point. And then just move slightly. So it's about weight distribution, right? So it's about the amount of weight that you can press on that particular part of your body against the foam roller or against the ball. And then it's the movement, whether it be with the muscle fibers and the tissues or that cross fibering. Oh my goodness, you guys. I'm glad you don't feel what I'm feeling right now. Hopefully you're not feeling that either. Breathe, breathe, breathe. So just know, yeah, we all have them, right? It's about working it out. It's about being kind to your body. It's not about overdoing. Like I said, you don't have to spend all day with this, right? It's taking a few minutes, as often as you can stand, as often as you're willing to come back to work through it. So I'm going to shift. So, ooh, hello. Just that lower part of my calf. Oh my goodness. Hello. I have a gigantic rope in there today. And just on that left side, isn't that crazy? So feedback, you guys, let me know what you think. And can you feel that chunkiness and that rope in there? Or are you like, no, I'm smooth as silk. If you're smooth as silk, man, I have a little bit of jealousy going on. But I hope it's good, you guys. I hope you can feel it just super well. All right, so coming back, set your foam roller or your ball aside. And once again, extend those legs out nice and long. Sitting up tall, flex your feet. Oh, way better. Way, way, way better. Breathe. And now can you wiggle those toes with those feet flexed? Okay, so we did the back side of our calf. I want you to get kind of along the outside and that muscle right along the side of your shin. So we're going to take a ball, whichever ball you want, lacrosse ball, tennis ball, softball, whatever you like, okay? And we're going to turn and I'm going to place the ball down and I'm going to set kind of the knee just off to the outside and then I'm going to cross my leg. So hands are going to be behind me because I want to be able to lift. You can have this leg off to the side. You can put it wherever you want to. And really it's about finding that space. And I'm going to lean back a little bit so that I can freely move my leg. Okay. What do you feel here? Anything funky? Not too bad. Okay, so just play with it a little bit. Move it a little bit out. Right along the outside of that shin. And just pulling that foot forward and back, kind of left to right. All right, so now here's a fun one. I want you to place the ball kind of where we started. So kind of mid-belly of your calf, but to the outside. And then we're going to stack the foot over the knee. And we're just going to gently press. Now you can always adjust the ball. you can always take the ball out. So we've done a lot of work, guys. So you can see me just kind of fine-tuning, adjusting to where I find that perfect place for the ball to be. And then I'm going to flex my feet and sit up nice and tall. So this is a huge hip stretch. At the same time, there's this pressure work going on. So our fire log pose, great hip stretch. And hopefully, because we've already worked hips, quadriceps, yeah, that you're like, okay, this is good. And then I just want you to flex and point your feet. And just relax, sit up nice and tall. Now, if it feels okay to you, bring your hands forward. Now, I want you to be really mindful. We don't want any bruising going on. So if you're like, wow, this is way too intense for me, just sit up nice and tall. Don't put that extra weight on your leg. Just hinge it forward a little bit. A little tuck of your chin. Now you can continue all the way forward if you want. You can just go ahead and fold forward. Just be aware. I don't want any bruising, guys. So just listen to where the ball is pressing. Listen to your hips. Listen to your lower back. And let's go ahead and walk those hands back up. And we're going to switch. So we're going to take that ball. And now we're going to place it on that left side. Right foot's out of the way. You can have it in front of you. So again, it's about playing. And I'm going to kind of lean over onto the left. And I'm just going to roll that ball right to left. So you can also kind of use your hand to press that knee down. So again, if you have knee issues, so now I'm just kind of using this right foot to rock my hips kind of forward and back, side to side. And as I'm pressing that left knee down, you can always adjust the ball with the right hand. It's about playing. It's about learning and exploring. So be as creative as you want to be, but be safe and be kind to your body. Good. And then kind of just kicking that foot out and back. If you find any spots, you can always come down lower. So if you're dealing with anything kind of ankle issues, feet issues, we're going to get down into those feet too. That's going to be our last and final. That always feels super good. All right, so I want you to find if there was a place, whether it be high or low, but I'm going to go kind of mid-belly, just to the outside of that mid-belly, and then I'm going to take that right foot, crossing it up and over the left. So again, just adjust wherever you need to adjust it to find that good place and sit up nice and tall. So as we come into our fire log pose, love for the hips, and then that little trigger point massage, for that calf and the shin. And we're going to point and flex the feet. So ankles over the knees, knees over the ankles, nice and tall through the spine. Yeah, so I can feel this. It's interesting. Other side, on that right side, I didn't feel it as much, but I can feel this all the way down into my ankles. So there's some tension going on. There's some little entanglements going on in that fascia that I just really need to promote that blood flow. And that's exactly what we're doing. So now if you like, just walk those hands forward. Little tuck of your chin. Let go of that tension in the hips, guys. Now if you like, you can walk all the way down. Just be mindful. We don't want too much pressure placed on that ball. We don't want any bruising, no pain. Just that great pressure point, trigger point massage. And then let's go ahead and walk those hands back up. Awesome. All right, you guys, so our last that we're going to do is working with our feet. So you can use massage ball, lacrosse ball, tennis ball. I'm going to say the smaller the ball, the better. You can use a golf ball if you want. So I'm going to use a lacrosse ball, guys. So lacrosse balls, you can get them anywhere. I mean, any of these balls you can really get anywhere. The massage ball is a little more tricky to find, but you can find them anywhere. Amazon, Walmart, most of the sporting goods stores, anywhere you want. But the lacrosse ball, you guys, is just this really dense rubber, and it's just a great size. So we want to work the arches of our feet, the heel, and into the ball of the foot and the toes. So I'm going to start at my heel. I'm going to turn this way so that I can have the ball on my mat and that you can actually see better. And I'm actually going to press into the mat. So I'm pressing to the point, most of my weight is pressing on the ball, a little bit of weight on that left foot just to keep me balanced. And I just want to press, and I'm going to roll. Little tiny rolls forward and back. Now remember when we were on the foam roller and I told you not to go super fast? It's okay if you do with this, because it's a tiny, tiny movement. And you're not going really anywhere. It's just at the heel of your foot and then side to side. So if any of you guys stand a lot, oh, this is going to be so good for you, and your feet are just going to thank you over and over and over again. Okay, and then we're going to slowly transition, bottom back down. We're going to transition into the arch of the foot. Now the arch of your foot, as you start to press, is not going to be able to handle quite what your heel did. So be nice as you start to lift, not quite as much pressure. Now I've got kind of 50-50 between my feet. So my left foot is holding me as much as my right, and I want to move that right foot just kind of back and forth, side to side, front to back. Little circles. So if anybody deals with plantar fasciitis, okay, so that's the fascia along the sole of your foot, has a lot to do with calf also. So you need to spend some time on those calves and on the arches of the feet, the ball of your foot, and your heel. So the more time you can spend on that fascia release work, now let's go ahead and place the bottom back down. The more time you can spend on that fascia work, you guys, the better. All right, so I'm just going to kind of hold on to that right foot or the right shin and just rock forward and back. So my weight has now shifted kind of forward, and I'm leaning in as opposed to pressing down. So I'm leaning in and just almost like if you were, what would we say? All I can think of, because I just made some bread, is like rolling it out, right? So rolling it out, and I'm just kind of moving right along the sides of the feet. So going side, center, center, side. So just kind of making passes and then side to side, right to left. And I'm going to move all the way down the arch of the feet down into the ball of the foot. So just passing that ball as freely as I can from the ball of the foot to just below the heel. Okay, and then I'm going to pull it back, and I'm going to press into the ball of the foot. I'm going to pull that left foot back. Again, I'm going to press and lift. And I want you to press the ball of your foot into that ball. And I'm going to transition. So now most of my weight is on my left foot, actually, and I can kind of transition the weight distribution back and forth between my legs as I need to, because we don't want to do too much into those toes. So now place your heel on the mat, grip the ball with your toes, and shift some weight forward. So you should feel this in your calf, your ankle, your toes, the arch of your foot. Breathe. And we're just going to kind of roll side to side. So I'm still pressing my weight forward, and I'm just kind of wrapping my toes around the ball. Good. And let's do the other side. So starting with the heel. So placing it just under the center of the heel, and I'm going to really press 90% of my weight on that left side into that left heel. Breathe in, little tiny forward and back. So I've got, a little bit of weight on that right side, but really try and press that heel into the mat. Breathe. Awesome. Good job, you guys. We're almost there. And then slowly transition it into the arch of the foot. And now we're going to even out that weight a little bit more. So the arch of the foot doesn't quite handle the same amount of pressure as that heel. And we're just going to go side to side, front to back, spending the time you need. So if your left foot needs more love, stay there and continue working on it. You don't have to stop when I stop. You can hit pause and you can just continue that work. Okay, so now I'm going to slowly bring my bottom back down, and I'm just going to maneuver. So here I am. I'm just kind of playing with it, you guys. I'm feeling like, okay, this is what I need. Maybe my shoulders or my elbows are like, hey, can I get a break? I'm done lifting my bum. So it's just listening to your body. Okay, be nice. Okay, so coming forward, I'm just going to tuck this out of the way so that you can see better. And I'm going to transition this down towards the ball of my foot. And I'm pressing. So not exactly the same as I did on the other one. It's okay. If you liked it better and you're like, yeah, I want to push on it, then do that. So one of the beautiful things is you've got lots of freedom, okay? The biggest thing is you want to be safe and you want to really listen to your body. So if there's pain, so sitting up nice and tall, all of a sudden I'm going to grip onto those toes and I'm going to roll side to side. So I can lean back if that's easier. And I'm rolling side to side. So mobility through those metatarsals, guys. Breathe. Awesome. So that flexibility and that freedom to move and to play and to explore. You just really want to make sure that you're not feeling any pain, tingly, numbness, that kind of thing. We're promoting blood flow. We're not hindering blood flow. Okay, so I feel like, wow, okay, the little arch of my foot needs a little bit extra love right there. Take it. It's your time. All right, so one of the greatest stretches that people love to hate, we're going to do for the feet and for the toes and the arches of the feet. So we're going to come up onto our knees, setting that ball off to the side. And we're in our tabletop position. We're going to tuck our toes and we're going to just push the sit bones back. So as you push your bottom towards your heels, you feel that stretch in the toes and the arches of the feet. If you're like, oh, wow, who even thought of this? And this is intensity like an 8, 9, or 10, stay here or back off a little bit. If you're like, wow, that feels amazing, particularly after what we just did, lift your upper body and just rest your hands on your thighs. So we have worked our bodies from our hips down, working to let go of fascia, entanglements, muscle knots, promoting space in joints. So the soft tissue work that we do, the self-massage tissue work that we do, you guys, is such a great gift. Go ahead and release. Oh, come forward, wiggle your toes. Awesome. And we're going to finish with one of the very best stretches ever. Coming to pigeon pose. Pulling that right knee in, left leg long. Just go ahead and slide that left leg back. Lifting the chest, little gaze forward. Adjust however you need to, doing our best not to list over onto that right hip unless you're taking care of your knee. If you are taking care of that knee, go ahead and come on over onto that hip. Otherwise, just stay up nice and tall. Find your breath and let's walk those hands forward. Sleeping pigeon. You guys did such a great job. Hopefully your body is just saying thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, you guys, it's about consistency. I know that it can be a super struggle. I know that it's very challenging and it's not anything really that you look forward to, particularly when you're starting out. But know that the time you put in is time well spent. And your body will soon crave this. And you will see and feel the difference. Let's go ahead and come over onto that right hip, sweeping the feet around, extending that right leg back. Left knee comes in, and let's go ahead and come on up to our pigeon. Awesome, you guys. Breathe. Now again, if you have that pillow, you can absolutely bring that pillow or that bolster out in front of you to lean on. If you like, go ahead and come on forward and just relax. So if you guys have any questions, if you need anything at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to me and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Any kind of guidance, anything that I can do, guys, that's why I'm here.
pigeon pose, kind of feeling all of the places that we've worked. This is one of the greatest stretches, kind of the culmination, just feeling it all. Lower back, hips, groin, IT band, shins, knees, gets it all. And let's go ahead and walk those hands up. Come over onto that left hip and pull that right foot around and sit cross-legged. I want to thank you so much for spending the time with me, spending the time on yourself, promoting your well-being, and just creating the best version of yourself you can. Really taking the time to take care of your body, an amazing gift you can give to yourself. But I hope you enjoyed. I hope it felt amazing. I look forward to the next time we get to be together. Until then, I hope you subscribe. I hope you share. I hope that I can just play a part in as many people's lives as possible to promote health and to live just a happy, healthy life, you guys. That's the goal. So thank you. Enjoy your day. Be well. And until the next time, namaste.